everybody does.
Yes, that's for sure.
Oh, here we go.
Becker, Holtstein.
And I'm Debbie Higgins. Hello, hello.
And we're here with Old Time Radio. And we hope you'll relax and maybe join us in a little movement therapy. And we'll have some fun. And we're going to talk about something that most people find extremely important in their lives. And that is romance and love and relationships. Most people seem to want relationships. In fact, a lot of us have spent perhaps years of our lives running, looking for relationships. Right, Debbie?
Yes, yes, and it too much time, I believe, but that's what everybody does, especially when you find somebody that rings your bell. It just brings you to life and makes you feel alive, and it's like a drug. It's like any drug. That's for sure.
Yes, in fact, the brain, while you are in the 3 or 4 months or half a year of an early romantic relationship, actually goes into almost like a narcotic state where it feels enraptured with the other person. Unfortunately, that particular state does die off biochemically. And then we all have to adjust to the realities of how the person drops his underwear on the living room floor or
leaves the toilet seat up.
Yes. Or like my husband pretended that he kind of knew how to cook. And once he made a really nice spaghetti dinner, it never happened again. I was very disappointed, but that's minor. The minor things, as a psychologist, I really hope you'll work your way through, because look, nobody was brought up in the same family. We don't marry our family. We marry people who are usually not even cousins. They're from whole different backgrounds. And so, of course, they're going to have different opinions, different foods, different interests, and working our way through some of that stuff without giving up is really the heavy part of romance. And go ahead, I can see.
Well, here we go. I want to just say tonight, besides our talk about love, we do have 2 guests tonight, and they were especially Rashmi was extremely instrumental in one of our projects. They're Barbara Holstein's creations about love, and it kind of goes through 3 phases of a couple and 3 stories where sometimes with love, you have to fantasize a bit to keep it going. There is original music created for these plays, and Rashmi is on tonight to talk about part of it, how her experiences were, and also her niece, Surmai Agrawal. She'll be coming on, and when they pop up, Surmai is going to sing and a poem that Rashmi wrote the poem, right? Rashmi, yep. Didn't you write the poem? And then your niece is going to sing it. Yes. So what we're doing, Rashmi, is right now we're just talking about hello, there you are. Hi, Surmai, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Don't be shy. We're all like crazy on this show. So it's all good. And we're just going to talk a little bit. And then when you feel comfortable, we'll let you sing. So why don't we just talk a little bit about the project?
Let me talk a little bit about the trilogy of love and the 3 dramas that make up this project. And first, let me just mention that without Ming, we wouldn't have this project. Ming Chen did such a great job in helping us not only facilitate on a Zoom platform, but working with us to just even get it closer and closer to real drama when you see these productions. So
especially Barbara, this is called old time radio,
yes,
which means you and I have the technical skills of my dog, which is laying on the floor here. So Ming is like a master at helping us even do anything. So he's unbelievable.
Right. Yeah. Even when I taught second grade years ago and I had to use a projector, I nearly fainted and fell on the floor. And if a 7-year-old couldn't have helped me, we never would have seen this show. So thank you, Ming. Now, what we've done in the trilogy of love, as Debbie said, is we've shown 3 different slices of life in the same couple, or perhaps they are different couples. It doesn't really matter, but in many ways we've created them so they could be the same couple. And in the first part of the trilogy, they're young. They're close to newlyweds, and they're fighting, and they're upset, and there are issues. And one of them is some temporary or maybe permanent infertility, which is a big major slice of life if you're dealing with it. And they're fighting and they're disappointed in each other. And he goes and sleeps on the couch and, all these things that people do. She leaves to be with a friend for a couple of days and her parents. And there is a miracle that kind of happens that helps her come home with enough courage as she sees herself as a lifelong being of a wonderful person, not just someone caught in the fighting. And there's hope at the end. So that's the first part of the trilogies. And that's the first show we did. In the second show, where our friend was actually a major character,
Rashmi was one of the stars. She was one of the stars.
She was one of the stars. Very important part, because it was her husband who had this marvelous Indian accent that created some sort of illusion for the woman who was now not quite as young, maybe in her early 30s, mid 30s, instead of being, 24 and just married. And she was experiencing a kind of crazy crush. I don't know if Rashmi's character ever really realized it, but we did as the creators. And eventually there was an understanding of an insight involved into how you handle different feelings of fantasy. We all need some degree of fantasy. For example, during this pandemic, honestly, if Netflix and Amazon Prime and Acorn didn't exist, I don't know exactly where I would have been some days, because you need to relieve yourself of the external world and create a sense of serenity and interest, whether it's comedy or drama or mystery. It revives us so that we can approach our lives again. So on to the third one. The third one, we can say it's the same couple. And what has happened this time is, again, there is some romance that happens when the husband plays the part of a fellow from India with a great accent. And how do you just separate out the real man from the drama of him playing a part? And do you need to separate him out? That's the big dilemma. That's the psychological dilemma. When a person goes on stage as an actress or an actor, you're not worried about that. You want him to be, or she to be, in character. That's why they're famous. That's why they make a living at doing this. But when it's your husband or wife, is it okay to go into character? I feel as a psychologist that within reason it is, that adults, no matter what their ages, can play drama and change into a character momentarily like kids do. again, it's a processing way of relieving the mind of stress. But exactly what happens to them and how they end it on a somewhat upbeat note, even funny, I'll leave it for you to watch it. So with that said, I think we should bring Rashmi in and let her talk about being in it.
Yeah, I think what we'll do is right now, one of the things that's important is the music, which kind of drives it. And we do have a person who does the music for us. And then I want to go to Rashmi and Surmai and just say, what was the genesis that wanted you to write a poem and your experience with the project? And was it something you've never done before? And I'll just talk a little bit about that, and then we'll get to the music itself. Go ahead, girls.
Rashmi. Yeah, so I was fortunate to be part of the second one of the trilogy. And I was, as Barbara said, I was wife of the Indian person who was the person who the lead lady get it and fantasize about. And it was a delightful experience to work with you guys. I mean, this was my first time doing actual play like this. And it was really nice. Like everybody was so nice, and we would do, it was so easily that we were doing it. Like it was like mistakes, and then we do the retakes, we do the practice. I mean, it was wonderful. And the concept itself, I think it happens with everybody in life. So yeah, and then putting it on script and actually looking like actually happening things, it was different. But yeah, it was fun. While I was doing those rehearsals, I actually write poems, but I usually write in my mother tongue, that's Hindi, and I never wrote an English one. But once the drama was done and I saw the final Zoom, it just came to me that I should write something about it. And then I wrote this poem thinking it is actually as per the like when we film it, or we can put it somewhere in that one. And then I guess Barbara had little different plans for the poem and for me.
Well, actually, for the second one, I had a poem that I had written that I was planning to use all along, way back. So okay. So I also write poems sometimes, and it had been sitting around for years. So I already thought that, but I thought, well, it'll be perfect for the third drama. I thought it was perhaps a little long, but if I was allowed to edit it a bit, then it was absolutely perfect. And it doesn't mean that we won't use it more and give you a chance, with other productions. And I think it came out really beautiful in the third one.
Yeah, and I got this fortunate chance to be a part of the third one as well. I mean, who knows?
Right.
Plus, let me interject that these are going to be made into movies. And so on the third one, maybe when we run the big credits at the end, we can put the whole poem.
Exactly.
And let's find out how your niece got involved. Okay. What do you want to say, Han? How'd you get involved in this?
So she reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to sing it, and it was a great opportunity. So I was up for it, and yeah, we worked together. She told me how she wanted it, and I kind of interpreted it, and yeah, it was a really good opportunity.
Okay.
Great.
So do you want to hear it now or anything else, Barbara, before we play it?
Yeah, I think nothing else. Will we be hearing it in the native tongue or in English now?
No, it's in English.
Okay, great. then please, let's do it.
And afterwards, don't go anywhere
Yeah.
because we want to talk to you girls. Okay.
So you want the instrumental as well, the backing track?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
and the tango one. Okay.
Not too loud.
Not loud so she can sing.
Skipping my heartbeat. Passing stranger, is that you? That jolt of static. Did you feel in your fingers too? All my fantasies, they were so real. Were they all true? Far away, holding those hands. The music of my heart's tune. No, no, no. Now I know. Some fun, some laughter. We can make it on you. Like the touch of the morning dew. It's clear like water, all this is true. You are hearing it too. Yes, I had an affair. Yes, yes, I had an affair. Oh my God, I had it with you.
Very good. We had a little problem with the audio, it seemed, but you have a beautiful voice. You have a nice, clear, strong. I guess it would be a mezzo soprano or an alto voice, because I'm a singer too, so I like to hear singers. I don't know if we have Surmai's audio. I think she might. Say something, hon. Let me see if we can hear you.
Hear me?
Yes. Okay. Very nice. Very good job. And actually, the way you wove the words to the music, that's pretty cool. Did a good job. All right. So, Barbara, want to say anything about, that's pretty cool that you want somebody
Yeah, and I'm just wondering, Ming, should she give another run with the music? Do you think you got it clearly enough?
I think I can play on my own phone. I think that'll be better because I was also having issues hearing it.
So, or you can sing again, Ming. I don't know.
Yes, that's a good idea. If you have the music on your phone, that'd be great.
So when we make it, we put this up so it keeps running for weeks and weeks or months and months. People watch our old time radio shows. So if we can reinsert as good a quality as possible for you, I'd hope we can do that. Okay.
Yeah, go for it and play the music on your end. That'd be great.
Yeah. So meanwhile, tell us a little about yourself. I've reached a point in aging, I can't tell anyone's age anymore. Are you a student? Are you a grown-up? I can't even tell. So tell us a little bit.
I'm a freshman in high school. I live in Princeton Junction in New Jersey. And yeah.
Wow, okay, I'm glad you told us. What would you like to do or think you might like to do when you grow up?
I definitely want to go into like singing / acting or like just anything related to performing arts. I love performing arts and it's my whole life basically.
All right, you're going to be in some of my movies. How's that? Dr. Ann will bring you.
Does your high school cater to the creative arts that you'll go to or you're in?
Yeah, they put up like musicals, and they have like a choir program that I'm in. It's a course.
That's great. Well, I wish you all the luck and success that's possible. And that's great. Anything else that either of you wanted to talk about? Otherwise, we're going to move ahead a little more into some of maybe the funny stories of love. If Debbie and I can think of one, we're going to try.
Funny. Well, did he want her to do that song again right now or at a later time, Ming?
Yeah, go for it if you're up for it. That'd be great.
Want to do it on your phone, and we'll shut up for a while and let you do it.
Yeah, I can do it now.
Okay.
Okay. Okay,
You can blast it out. That's fine. Sounds good.
skipping my heartbeats. Passing stranger, is that you? That jolt of static. Did you feel in your fingers too? All my fantasies, they were so real. Were they all true? Far away, holding those hands, dancing to the music of my heart's tune. No, no, no. Now I know. Some fun, some laughter. We can make it on you. Like the touch of the morning dew. It's clear like water. All this is true. You are hearing it too. Yes, yes. I had an affair. Yes, yes, I had an affair. Oh, my darling, I had it with you. Oh, my darling, I had it with you.
Very nice.
And that was beautiful.
Yeah,
I'm so glad we were able to do that. And maybe after we run this tonight, as it's going to stay up, Ming can, maybe he'll make a copy that takes out the first run.
Yeah.
You know, it'll be perfect. Perfect.
So are either of you gals in any performing things now? What are you doing? Are you in any films or in any kind of, performing venue? Or waiting for the next thing?
Waiting for your next production, Debbie.
Well, yeah. Well, I'm going to be doing a horror movie. Do you want to be in a horror movie? Anyway, no, we're gonna start filming. Actually, we're actually going to be working on, I guess, a little prequel, right, Barbara, to the trilogy. And we'll be getting to it this year.
Yeah, and as soon as I can be assured that the cast, is all clear as far as virus concerns, we can move ahead and start planning the trilogy. There's the only thing in the way is really, that I want to be careful that we do it right as far as health.
Right. So. I want to thank you guys for coming on. You can stay if you like, whatever you like to do. Barbara and I have our crazy love stories now that we regale them with our, being mastodon age-wise, as far as we have stories from decades.
Yes, yes.
But I want to say you're very courageous to come on and sing like that. And I can tell you're a really good performer because you didn't have any wavering in your voice at all. And sometimes when people are scared, their voice wavers. And, I do this and a bunch of other things, but I've been a singer forever. And singing is just, it's wonderful. and I miss it because I haven't been able to do it since COVID. I'm in a Broadway group, and we haven't had a concert since D-Day was the last concert I had. So you're very courageous, and I want to thank both of you for your incredible talent. Rashmi, yes. I couldn't have cast you better. You're just like the most beautiful wife for that show. I was like, both of you, my God, I was just so lucky to get both of you. Mm-hmm. So, you know, that as a producer, that falls in my lap, and it's like, oh my God, you know, because you couldn't be a homely, you had to be beautiful, because you guys were the fantasies, you know. So anyway.
So thank you so much. And I agree with Debbie. Your voice was so clear and strong, and that's great. So let's go on. We only have 10 or 15 minutes, or we bore everybody after a while.
I know, they go to sleep.
I thought that I could start by telling everyone that, yes, I fell in love when I was 9. Do not tell anybody that that's not possible. And I can tell you the very day it happened, I was in 4th grade. This boy walked in, and I had these feelings. I won't be any more expressive, but there were feelings. My heart was beating fast. I'll leave it at that. And I felt in love. I really did. Now, I'm still too embarrassed to give his whole name, although I've searched on the web 4 or 5 times over many years. I don't know if he passed away when he was very young, or he's managed to, you know, some people really stay off of the web. They're just not on. But his first name is, I'll say is, I hope he's alive and well, is Paul. And so when I wrote my first book for girls, The Truth Diary of a Tween, I called the crush, you know, I used his first name, Paul, and I think I was kind of secretly hoping that maybe he had a granddaughter by that time that, you know, read my book, The Truth Diary of a Gutsy Tween is the correct title. And maybe she'd say to him, "Oh, Grandpa, this is such a good book." And he'll look and he'll say, "Barbara Becker, she was in my 4th and 5th and 6th grade classes." You know, it didn't happen, at least to my knowledge. But I do think that a feeling of connection can really happen at a very young age. Now, obviously, if we were alive hundreds of years ago, somewhere in a matchmaking land, maybe I would have told my parents, and if his parents were suitable and he was, who knows, maybe we would have married at 14. But, you know, this is this country. So that's my first one. Do you have a first?
Yeah, if you were in the 14th century, that would be okay. But now you'd be arrested. And this show is PG, so we don't want to hear about your 9-year-old antics, Barbara.
There were no antics. It was
I know that.
Feeling, a real strong feeling.
Do I have to go next, or can Rashmi go next for her first love? But she's married, right? Rashmi, you're married. You can't, you know. Well, I'll tell you, I fell in love. My first real job I had was at the racetrack, because I've always loved horses. And Monmouth Park was right by my parents' house. And I always had a crush on Davy Jones of the Monkees, and that type of face, like that baby face. And and he's still alive, and I still have a crush on him when I look at him. He's 71 years old, and I don't care. I take him in a heartbeat. And I can say his name, and I don't care. He was a jockey, and his name was Eddie Maple. And I would swim through dry sand for that guy. He was nice and sweet, and he just was. I still feel when I look at his picture like I'm 16 years old, and it's ridiculous. And even when I was married, I'm a widow. I lost my husband. My husband had to hear about him day and night. So I mean, it's funny, but it is you can have love at first sight. I fell for my husband. He was across the room. I saw him. He saw me. It was love at first sight, and we had a phenomenal marriage. So yeah, I do believe in that. So that's my story. Anyway.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a good one.
Yeah, jockey.
So
5'2". Yeah.
Well, you were a beautiful young girl, and I guess height didn't.
What happened? Yeah.
You know, the whole thing with height was so ridiculous in our generation. Things that our parents focused on, and of course, we absorbed them. Height was one of them. It was silly.
I was raised with my grandmother looking at, old black and white movies that had been in the theaters in the 30s and 40s and were transferred in the 1950s to TV. So I was raised on Tyrone Power, Cary Grant, William Holden, and they were always the bad boy. And the one girl went through all this stuff to get them, but then they got them and it was like happily ever after. And I swear to God, I lived my life like that, ridiculously so. But I was raised on those movies, and I always have this romantic aspect of love. Surmai, am I saying your name right, hon? Am I saying your name? Do you have a boyfriend? Just asking. You're a freshman in school. I know you can't.
Don't put her on a spot.
I won't put her on the spot.
Yeah.
But, when you get to high school, you look around and there's got to be one in there that's extra cute that you like. Look at, I got her crazy now.
I guess soon enough.
Rashmi, how about you? Did you have a first crush?
In high school, I think everybody has one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I wasn't different.
It's very common. It's very normal. It's very appropriate,
Yeah.
you know? And I think that it gives you a sense of how to handle yourself with the opposite sex. You have to have these practice runs, even if it's just talking to somebody, and it's part of life. So one of the things that's kind of sad is I found out that one of my serious boyfriends in college has already passed away. That was a shock. It's almost like you expect people who, I think this is normal, people that are important in your life, even if you stop seeing them, you hope they're alive and well.
And you still kind of think of them the way they were.
Yeah.
You can't imagine them as older. You get that picture in your mind, and it brings you back, even though you look different and you're older, to thinking that you're young that way, which is kind of nice,
And
nice.
He actually had passed away about 16 years ago now. And part of me was a little upset that I hadn't known, because for 16 years I've been assuming he's alive. Not that I've anything to do with him or would pick up the phone, nothing. But just the fact I didn't know was also like a little bit of a shock.
Yeah.
So, but
it's good we didn't put Ming on the spot with this one. Usually the last time we put Ming on the spot, he's hiding in there, he's hiding.
But, after Paul, I'll just tell you one more story because it's so funny. Yes, I had another crush by 8th grade. And this crush was in a different town because we had moved, and he was a year older, but he rode the same bus. And I was talking about this fellow for months, and my mother had to listen to what he wore to school every day. And I would insist that she would drive by his house, and she would be like tired and pick me up somewhere, after school. And it's like, Barbara, we can't keep driving by his house, you know, please. So one time we drove by his house and he obviously he was in the driveway washing the car with his dad, and I could tell he recognized me. I was horrified. You know, now he's going to know. Well, stalking wasn't a word then, but he would know I was following him. But what happened with him was so hilarious. And it was part of the plot that we have filmed in our film, Falling in Love. He finally asked me to the dance, the junior high dance. I guess it combined 7th, 8th, and 9th graders. He was a 9th grader, I was an 8th grader. I was thrilled to the hell, over the moon. And when his father came to pick me up, because, you know, how else are we going to get anywhere? It turned out that his father was the waiter in the Italian restaurant where my mother and I went once a week when my father was teaching a course. And he had heard me talk about his son all year. And I almost died in the car. Now, I have to say that Bob, which was his first name, was a real gentleman. He was very nice to me. And I never knew whether his father had set him up or he had actually knew about my crush, and maybe he had a little tiny crush on me and he wanted to go to the dance. I never knew. Just never knew.
Well, what happened after the dance? Did you keep dating him or what?
No, well, first of all, I wasn't formally dating that year. It was only just parties. And so we met once again at someone's house where there was a party. I remember that we were playing Spin the Bottle, and, you know, it was so insane, you know. And one time I got in the closet with him and we had a peck. I mean, we're not talking about real, you know, we're talking about kids fumbling around with a peck on the cheek, you know. You don't even make you miss the lips, you know. Just fun. And I never heard or saw him again. I went to the same high school, but we were in a different grade and different classes. So when I put this in the book, Secrets, as the major plot, you know, a film or a book, they have to have a crisis of some sort. You know, otherwise it's just like a memoir, a different type of thing, but you need something. So I thought, this is a wonderful thing to make the crisis. And then I got a letter from a woman who said to me, I loved the book and my daughter loved the book, but that whole thing with the girl having talked about the boy in front of her, the boy's father, was ridiculous. It couldn't have been true.
Right. And just so the girls know, we did make a movie of that. That was one of our films that we did.
Yes.
So, yeah. So they've done really well at the festivals, and they've gotten a big play all around the world, really. Yeah. Really done very well. So, yeah.
So why don't you tell one more, and then I think it's going to be time to sign off.
Well, I don't know if I was very lucky. I went to all girls school. I didn't know what a boy was like. I was around animals when I was young, and I had no idea even anything about anatomy, nothing. The only thing I knew was Grey's Anatomy. We used to look at that stupid book and look at the illustration, and, you know, but I was in freshman year high school, and everybody knew each other because they had gone to the same grammar school, and it was co-ed, and I came out of all girls private school with only 18 girls in school. So I didn't even know how to open a locker. I was just crazy. I didn't know what I was doing. And they had a Sadie Hawkins dance, which is a dance that you ask a boy to go. And this one boy in my homeroom was very nice. And I asked him and he said no. And I was destroyed. I just didn't know. But you could still go to the dance and be on the side, and with my little girlfriends, that two of them came from the private school. So we were all huddled together like weird wallflowers. Well, about a month later, I opened my locker because I finally learned how to open a locker. And in there was a bottle of perfume. And there was, it was Love's Lemon. I love that perfume. They don't make it anymore. And it was the boy. His name it was Gil. And we started dating. And we were together for 4 years.
Oh my goodness.
And I kind of left him because when I was talking about singing, I was in the touring company of 1776 on Broadway. And when I got into 1776, I fell in love, if the people know the play, I fell in love with the soldier in the play. And poor Gil got the heave ho. But I had a beautiful 4-year relationship, and we're still friends. I talk to him all the time. He lives in the Philippines, and we talk to each other once a month, and I want him to come back to visit, but he has a wife and 3 kids now. So that was, that turned out. And I said to him, why did you say no? And he said, well, I don't know. I just didn't want to be with one person all night. I was scared. But my brother told me, don't ever burn a bridge that you might want to walk over again. And that's why he bought me the perfume and put it in my locker. So,
oh, wow. That's a great
story.
It
was nice.
Well, we don't want to give away all our secrets in one old time radio show. So I think we're going to come to an end for tonight. I'm so glad we had the added treat of this beautiful singing, and we got to talk to a couple of guests, and it was just great. Thank you so much.
And this will be on Facebook, which you can share it, and also on we're on Vimeo, and are we on YouTube too? I don't even know.
Yeah, I think that Ming puts it up on YouTube. He has a channel,
Vimeo,
and then I'll put it up on Vimeo. But I want to wait till it's cut so we get the better, the right song in it done properly, so that everybody's happy.
So I want to thank you, girls, and you're on my list for casting now. Always casting, and I'm always thinking, and of course, Rashmi, we will be making part 3 with you, or part 2 with you. Sorry, yes, as the wife. Yeah, yes. I get so confused. There's so many Barbara projects in my head spinning around. But anyway, thank you so much, and we love that you came on and you shared this. And thank you for your talent, writing the poem and putting it to that music, which was a little bit difficult, I think. I think you did a great job. So for me and Barbara.
Yes, we're going to say goodbye for now from Old Time Radio and Debbie and Barbara. We'll see you next time.
We'll see you next month.